Hello student, today we are going to study the how Z transform relate with the Laplace transform and Fourier transform, as well as some stability conditions for the Z transform. So relation between the Laplace transform LT or Z and Z transform. We employ the Laplace transform in DSP in the analyzing the continuous time signal, where the Z transform is used to analyze the discrete time signal. So Laplace transform is used to basically analyze the continuous time signal or CT signal, and Z transform is used to analyze the discrete time signal. Laplace transform converts the differential equation into the algebraic equation, whereas the Z transform converts the differential equation, that is a discrete version of the differential equation, into the algebraic equation. The Laplace transform maps the continuous time function ft to the fs, which is defined in the s-plane. And in s-plane, s is the complex variable defined as s is equal to sigma plus j ohm. So Laplace transform normally maps the continuous function, that is ft, to the fs, that is it converts the time domain signal into the s domain signal, which is defined in the s-plane. And s is the complex variable defined as s is equal to sigma plus j ohm. Similarly, the Z transform maps the discrete time function fn to the fz, that is defined in the z plane. Here the z is the complex variable defined as z is equal to r into e raised to j omega. So in Laplace transform, your ft converts into the fs, and which is defined in the s plane, and s is indicated as a complex variable which is defined as a s is equal to sigma plus j omega. But in case of the Z transform, which maps the Fn discrete time function to the Fz, that is Z transform function, and it is defined in the Z plane. And here Z is the complex variable defined as Z is equal to R into e raised to j omega. Let us derive it. So consider the periodic train pulses Pt with the period t. So Pt is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to the infinity delta of t minus nt. Now consider the periodic continuous time signal. So that is sample that signal, that is x of nt. Take the product of above two signals. So we can get xp, that is periodic signal of t, is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of nt into delta of t minus nt. So taking the Laplace transform of above equation and using the identity, that is L Laplace of delta of t minus nt, that is equal to e raised to minus n into ts. Thus xp of s equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of nt into e raised to minus nts, because delta of t minus nts is nothing but e raised to minus nts. So we can write this equation: xp of s is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of nts into e raised to st and raised to minus n. So brought the minus n term outside the bracket. So you can compare the equation with the Z transform. So you can compare this equation with the Z transform, and the Z transform equation is x of z is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n into z raised to minus n. So finally we get the relation. If you compare this, so z is equal to z raised to minus 1 is equal to e raised to st raised to minus n. So by impulse invariance method we can conclude that z is equal to e raised to st. So for this kind of the derivation you need pen and paper, so you can derive it properly. So another representation, s is equal to 2 into z minus 1 divided by t into z plus 1. So if you put the s is equal to value 2 into z minus 1 divided by t into z plus 1. So mapping into the z plane into the s plane. So if the in the s plane, the whatever the poles on the imaginary axis can be mapped on the unit circle of the z plane. So mapping of the s-plane into the z-plane. So when the poles which are in s-plane, which are on the imaginary axis, can be mapped onto the unit circle in the z-axis. that is mapping of the poles located at the imaginary axis of the S-plane onto the unit circle of the Z-plane, and this is the important condition for the accurate transformation of the S-plane to the Z-plane. So now next one, when the poles are the right hand side of the S-plane, it can be mapped inside the circle. So that it's these poles are the sorry left hand of the S plane, so it can be mapped into the inside the circle. So this is the real axis of the Z plane, this is the imaginary axis of the Z plane, and this can be termed as the Z total plane, and this is the x axis, S plane, and sigma is nothing but the real axis and j omega is nothing but the imaginary axis, and whatever the poles are placed in the left hand side of the S plane, it can be mapped into the inside of the unit circle, and this is the ohm, that is the frequency, and that frequency shifted to the ohm t in the Z plane. So mapping of the stable pole, that means if the poles are the left side of the S plane, so that is the stable system. So that is the, if the system have the poles, all poles in the left side of the S plane, so we can call it as a stable poles or stable system. So these poles on the left side of the imaginary S plane axis, so it can be mapped into the unit circle in the Z plane. So this is the another important condition of the Z plane. Next, if the poles are the right side of the S-plane, it can be mapped outside the circle. So the poles on the right side of the imaginary axis of the S-plane lie outside the unit circle of the Z-plane when it is mapping. So this pole is mapped into the outside of the Z-plane, unit circle in the Z-plane. So let us define the relation between the Fourier transform and the Z transform. So it is up to the up to the previous we are derive the relation between the Z plane and S plane. So now we are going to turn the relation between the Fourier transform and the Z transform. So I repeating that the use pen and paper so you can able to understand the derivation of the all the things, as well as you are able to solve the example. So you know the Fourier transform x of omega is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n into e raised to minus j omega n. And the equation for the z transform is the x of z, that is the equation for the z transform, x of z is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n z raised to minus n. So replacing the z in the above equation, so we can replace the z is equal to r into e raised to j omega. So you will get the x of z is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n, and z can be replaced by r into e raised to j omega raised to minus n. So that is nothing but the x of z is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n into r into e raised to minus j omega n. So if r is equal to 1, so put the r is equal to 1, so you will get the, thus we evaluate the above equation on the unit circle of the z plane, and we get x of z is equal to summation n is equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n e raised to minus j omega n. And if you compare the above equation with the formula of the Fourier transform, you can observe that the right hand side of the both equations are the same, and thus we can say that the z transform signal evaluated on the unit circle is equal to the Fourier transform of the signal. So, this equation is similar with your Fourier transform equation. So this equation. So by using this, we can say that the Z transform signal is evaluated on the unit circle is equal to the Fourier transform of the signal of that signal. So mapping between the pole phase and frequency on the unit circle. So in the Z plane, Z is equal to R into e raised to j omega is a phasor with the R being magnitude and omega being angle. So this angle is represented by angle Z is equal to tan inverse of imaginary part divided by real part. That is tan inverse of imaginary axis of Z plane divided by real axis of the Z plane. and omega is equal to tan inverse is equal to imaginary axis of the z plane divided by the real axis of the z plane. For the normal z plane, this incident that the omega is going vary from 0 to 2 pi. However, for the r is equal to 1, if we have r is equal to 1, we are trying to establish the relation between the zt, that is Fourier transform, and z transform. So we can say that since the Fourier transform is equal to the z transform, the omega of the z transform or z plane is equivalent to the frequency of the Fourier transform, and which by extension now it can be vary from 0 to 2 pi. So the what is nothing but the poles and the zeros. So you know the what is nothing but the poles and zeros, but we revise some points regarding the stability conditions. So the zeros of the Z transform are the values for which x of z is equal to 0, and the poles of the Z transform, that are the values for which x of z is equal to infinity. So we can obtain the zeros by assigning the numerator equal to the 0, and by equating the denominator equal to the 0 of the transfer function, you will get the poles. For the condition x of z is equal to infinity, and zeros can be obtained for the condition x of z is equal to 0. So x of z is the rational function, that is x of z is equal to numerator divided by denominator, which is nothing but b0 plus b1 z raised to minus 1 plus b2 z raised to minus 2 up to bn z raised to minus n, divided by a0 plus a1 z raised to minus 1 plus a2 z raised to minus 2 up to an z raised to minus n. So that is x of z is equal to numerator divided by denominator. So that is b0 z raised to minus m into z raised to m plus b1 divided by b0 z raised to m minus 1, like that b2 divided by b0 z raised to m minus 2 plus up to the bm divided by b0, divided by a0 into z raised to minus n plus z raised to n plus an divided by a0 z raised to n minus 1 plus a2 divided by a0 z raised to n minus 2 up to the an divided by a0. So that is nothing but the x of z is equal to numerator divided by denominator, that is equal to b0 divided by a0 into z raised to n minus m into z minus z1, this is the first 0, z minus z2 second 0 up to z minus zn, that is the nth 0, divided by z minus p1 first pole, z minus p2 second pole, z minus pf third pole up to the pn. So the poles and the zeros. So x of m z has the m finite zeros, that is z is equal to z1 z2 up to the zm, and the roots of the numerator are the roots of the numerator, and it has n finite poles, that is p is equal to p1 p2 up to pn, roots of the denominator. It has the n minus n zeros at z is equal to 0 if m is greater than n, and it has m minus n poles at the z is equal to 0 if n is less than n. So the if the x of infinity is equal to 0, the 0 exists at the infinity, and if x of infinity is equal to infinity, the poles exist at the infinity. Poles and zero. X of z can be represented by using the poles and zero plot. The location of the poles are shown by using the cross sign or multiplication sign, and the location of the zeros can be shown as a simple 0. If the poles or 0 is represented at the same location, the number is added to indicate the number of the zeros or poles on that location. So let us take the one example, that is x of n is equal to a raised to n u of n. So its z transform is by observing the table 1 divided by 1 minus a into z raised to minus 1. So that is equal to z divided by z minus 1 a. So here is the 1 0, that is z1 is equal to 1, and 1 pole p1 is equal to a. So here is 0 is represented, and here is the pole is represented on real axis. So that pole value is A. So you can determine the poles and 0 in this way. Pole 0 plot. Suppose determine the pole 0 plot for the x of n is equal to a raised to n for 0 to m minus 1 condition, otherwise it is a 0, and a is greater than 0. So use the equation x of z is equal to summation n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 a into z raised to minus 1 raised to n. So it becomes 1 minus a z inverse raised to m divided by 1 minus z inverse a into z inverse. So x of z is equal to z raised to minus n minus a raised to m divided by z raised to m minus 1 into z minus a. So the roots of the numerator is zk is equal to mod of a into e raised to 2 pi k divided by m divided by m. So k is equal to 0, 1 up to the m minus 1, and p1 is equal to a and pk is equal to 0 for k is equal to 0 2 3 up to m. So pole and zeros at z is equal to a cancels each other. So these are the zeros and there is a one pole at the 0. So m is equal to 8. Pole zero plot, that is pole location and time domain behavior for the causal sequence. Consider for the following real signals. So x of n is equal to a raised to n u of n. So its z transform becomes 1 divided by 1 minus a into z inverse, and its ROC is the mod of z is greater than a. So this is the zero pole plot for the causal sequence. This this is the unit step sequence zero pole plot. This is the sequence. These are the sequence where the pole zero plot is look like this. Pole zero plot and time domain behavior for the causal sequence. So one more type a raised to n u of n. So its z transform is 1 divided by 1 minus a into z raised to minus 1, and its ROC is mod of z is greater than a. So its pole is like this and the sequence is like this, a raised to n q of n, and the similar one. So this is the one of the z plane for this sequence. One more signal n into a raised to n u of n. So its z transform is a into z raised to minus 1 divided by 1 minus a into z raised to minus 1 raised to 2, and ROC is the mod of z is greater than a. So if the signal is like this, so it's z plane plot. If the ramp signal is available, then the z pole zero plot is like this. If this kind of the signal positive negative, so then you will get the this kind of the signal pole zero plot, and if the signal is this, then you will get this kind of the signal pole zero plot. Again same, that is n a raised to n u of n. So its z transform is a into z raised to minus 1 divided by 1 minus a z raised to minus 1 raised to 2, and the mod of z is greater than a. So you will get this kind of a sequence for the pole zero plot. One more is a sequence. You take x of n is equal to r raised to n cos of omega 0 n u of n. So it is the both poles are available. So you will get these kind of the sequence and pole zero plot. Next again one more sequence is r raised to n cos omega 0 n u of n. So you will get this is the r raised to n sequence. This is r raised to minus n, and the poles are the outside of the unit circle. In previous case, the poles are the units on the unit circle. But in this case, the poles are because BI, this system is the bounded input, unbounded output. So the poles are the outside of the unit circle. In this case, the BO type of the system, poles are on the unit circle. So if all poles of the signals are inside in the unit circle, then the signal is the bounded. Both signals A and B are the bounded in this case. So all the poles are inside of the unit circle. So A signal and B signal are the bounded signals. The signals with the poles close to the origin decays the much faster than the signals have its poles close to the unit circle counter. So if the poles uh, close to the origin, so this case decays much faster than the signal poles closer to the unit circle counter. The signal B decays, so this signal decays much faster than the signal A. The system function of the LTI system. For the LTI, it is linear time invariant system. Here y of n is equal to x of n convolved with the h of n, or y of z is equal to x of z multiplied by h of z. Consider the system that can be described by the linear equation. So your differential equation is y of n is equal to summation k is equal to 1 to n a k y of n minus k plus summation k is equal to 0 to m b k x of n minus k. Take the z transform. So y of z is equal to minus summation k is equal to 1 to n a k z raised to minus k y of z plus summation k is equal to 0 to m b k z raised to minus k x of z. So h of z is equal to y of z divided by x of z, that is equal to summation k is equal to 1 to m b k z raised to minus k plus summation plus divided by 1 plus summation k is equal to 1 to n a k z raised to minus k. So take the one example, 0.5 into y of n minus 1 plus 2x of n. So computing this, so you will get the 2 divided by 1 minus 0.5 z raised to minus 1. And so h of n will become 0.5 raised to n u of n. So stability condition for the system to be stable, all poles of the transfer function h of z is equal to y of z divided by x of z should be included by the unit circle. So this is the stable system and this is the unstable system because the poles are the outside of the circle. Thank you.